By the time she said it, the dishes were still on the coffee table. Not because we were messy, because I'd been cleaning all day and I decided, just for one night, to let the living room look lived in. She was curled up on the far end of the couch with her laptop open, working, which meant 3 tabs of inspiration boards and 1 invoice she'd been about to send for a week. I came out of the bedroom with my toothbrush in hand, leaned down like I always did, and went to kiss her goodnight. She didn't flinch. She just turned her face slightly like I'd aimed wrong. "Hey," she said, and muted the TV with the remote. "Can we talk?" That tiny click of silence, TV to nothing, felt louder than anything she could have said. "I don't think I'm in love with you anymore," she told me, "but I still want us to live together." And in the next breath, like she was suggesting we switch from oat milk to almond, she added, "We're really good as roommates." My name is Eli. I'm 29. I work in systems engineering for a mid-size company in Ridgeport. Downtown glass building, badge access, the kind of place where everyone pretends they don't have a stress eye twitch. And until that night, I would have told you my girlfriend Mara was the most independent person I'd ever dated, which is one of those statements that's only true if you don't zoom in. When I met Mara, she was 25 and laser-focused. She had her own apartment, her own routines, and that slightly impatient confidence of someone who always had places to be. She did brand design, logos, packaging, social assets, the kind of work that looks effortless when it's finished but eats your brain while you're making it. On our 3rd date, she insisted we split the check and said, half joking, "I don't do sponsor boyfriends." That line stuck in my head because it sounded like a boundary. It sounded like someone who knew who she was. We dated 1.5 years before moving in together. The move wasn't a romantic milestone moment with fairy lights and matching mugs. It was practical. Her agency downsized. Her contract dried up. She told me she could figure it out, but she said it like someone reciting a spell they weren't sure still worked. I said, "Move in with me. We'll breathe for a minute. You'll get another client. We'll regroup." That's what I thought we were doing. A regroup. At first, she contributed from savings. Then freelance checks came in. Irregularly. A few hundred here, a big one there, then nothing for weeks. Every time the lull stretched, she'd do the same thing. She'd get quiet, then defensive, then bright again, like she could charm reality into cooperating. I started covering more, not because she demanded it, because when you love someone, you don't watch them drown while you stand on the shore and lecture them about water safety. So I covered the rent, for now. Then utilities. Then groceries. Then her phone bill got rolled into my plan because it was cheaper. Then her car insurance, until she got a steady month. Then dinner tabs because she'd promise, next time. Next time became a season. Then a year. And somewhere in the middle of that, I became the person who handled everything. Not just money, everything. If the sink clogged, I fixed it. If the landlord needed something, I emailed. If we were seeing friends, I coordinated. If her laptop glitched, I troubleshot. If she needed to renew a subscription, she'd call out from the couch like she was asking me to pass the salt. "Babe, can you handle that?" And I did. Because from the outside, we looked fine. Better than fine. We laughed. We cooked together sometimes. We were affectionate. We had routines. Friday takeout, Sunday morning coffee, little inside jokes that made us seem like a couple people envy. And we still had a physical relationship. It wasn't dead, it wasn't cold, it was consistent. That's part of why her sentence on the couch hit like it did, because it made the last 18 months feel like a movie I'd been watching in the wrong language. 3 weeks before that night, I'd had my annual review. My boss told me I was getting a raise. It wasn't life-changing money, but it was enough to make the numbers in my head relax a little. I came home feeling lighter than I'd felt in months. Mara was on the couch in leggings, hair in a clip, scrolling through listings for loft-style apartments like we were shopping for a fantasy. I sat beside her and said, "I got the raise." She smiled, kissed my cheek, and said, "Good. because we really need more space. That should have been my first clue. Not, I'm proud of you. Not, you worked hard. Just, good. Because we need. But I didn't let it land. I told myself she was stressed, that she meant we, that she loved me. People are incredible at translating for the people they want to keep. So, when she muted the TV and told me she wasn't in love, my brain didn't even fight it at first. It just went very calm, like a system that stopped receiving power. I asked her, "What do you want?" She looked relieved that I wasn't yelling. "I want us to stay living together," she said. "No drama. We work. We're comfortable. I don't want to lose you as a person. I just don't have that feeling." "And you felt this for—" She hesitated. "A while. Months?" "Yeah." Then she softened her voice like she was making this easier for me. "I wanted to be honest, Eli. You deserve honesty." I stared at her and I realized something strange. She looked proud of herself. Not cruel, not evil, just proud, like she'd completed a hard task and deserved credit. I said, "Okay." Her shoulders dropped like she'd been carrying a backpack. "You're okay with it?" "I didn't say I was okay," I said. "I said okay." She took that as agreement anyway. And then she smiled, small, grateful, and reached for my hand. It felt like being patted on the head. I told her I needed to sleep. I went into the bedroom and lay in the dark, staring at the ceiling fan. My phone buzzed once, then again. Not a text from her, a notification from our shared tablet. We kept it in the kitchen for recipes and music. It was logged into the same cloud account. If one device got a message, the other often did too. I didn't go looking for anything. I just heard it vibrate on the nightstand because I'd brought it in earlier to charge. I glanced down, and that's how I saw it. A group chat with 3 of her closest friends lighting up like a slot machine. "Mara." I told him. Friend 1. "OMG, are you okay?" Mara. "Yeah, he took it way better than I expected." Friend 2. "Queen behavior." Mara. "I was honest. I didn't want to keep pretending." Friend 3. "And you can still stay there, right?" Mara. "That's the plan. It would be stupid to blow up my living situation." Friend 1. "He'll be fine. He's stable. You need to think about you." I didn't read farther than that. I didn't have to, because in 6 lines my entire relationship got summarized into a housing strategy. And what hit me hardest wasn't even the content. It was how normal it sounded to them. Like this was an empowered, mature life choice, not a person's heart being rearranged for convenience. I set the tablet down, face down, like it was hot, and I lay there thinking something I didn't want to admit. She wasn't asking to be friends. She was asking to keep the benefits. She wanted the apartment, the stability, the soft landing. She just didn't want the guilt of calling it love. The next morning, I made coffee. Not as a gesture, as muscle memory. I poured 1 cup into my travel mug and screwed on the lid. Mara wandered out, sleepy, and stood by the counter, waiting. I waited too. When she realized there wasn't a second mug, she blinked like her brain needed a second to load. "You didn't make a pot?" "I didn't need a pot," I said. "I needed a cup." She laughed once like it was a joke. "Okay." I put on my jacket. She said carefully, "So, we're good?" "We're roommates," I said. "Roommates are good." Her face tightened for half a second. Then she recovered. "Right, yeah. Roommates." I went to work and did what I always did when my life felt unstable. I made a plan. Not a revenge plan. A clarity plan. I opened my notes app and started listing everything I'd been covering. Rent, utilities, car insurance, groceries, phone, streaming. Random, Mara-needed things I'd stopped noticing were constant. I pulled up my bank statements and made a spreadsheet. Not because I wanted to shame her, because if I didn't name the reality, I'd keep slipping into the same pattern, paying for a relationship that wasn't real anymore. That evening when I got home, Mara was on the couch again. She looked up and smiled like nothing had happened. "Hey," she said, "can you book a table for me and the girls on Saturday? Somewhere cute." There it was, the assumption, the automatic, the expectation that roommates still came with boyfriend perks. I set my bag down and said, "You can book it." She stared at me. "What?" "I'm sure the restaurant has a website," I said. "Or you can call." She tried to smile. "Are you mad?" "No," I said. "I'm adjusting." She made a noise like she didn't like that word. Adjusting sounded too much like consequences. Over the next 2 weeks, I became exactly what she asked for. A roommate, polite, clean, predictable, fair, and nothing extra. I washed my dishes and left hers in the sink. Not as a statement, as a boundary. I did my laundry and left her basket untouched. I bought groceries for myself and labeled one shelf in the fridge. I stopped auto-paying her phone plan. I separated the accounts. I stopped doing the small invisible things that make someone else's life feel easy. And the weirdest part? It was peaceful. Not emotionally. Emotionally, it was like walking around with a bruise under my ribs. But logistically, it was peaceful. Because when you stop being the manager of someone's life, you get time back. I went to the gym after work. I joined a weekend hiking group. I started cooking meals that I actually liked instead of compromised dinners. And I noticed something I hadn't noticed in a long time. I could hear my own thoughts again. Mara, meanwhile, started doing that thing people do when they're uncomfortable but don't want to admit why. She'd sigh loudly in shared spaces. She'd play sad music at medium volume. She'd leave her laptop open with budget templates on the screen where I could see them. And she'd stare at me like she was waiting for me to interpret her mood and fix it. One night, she said, "Do you want to watch something?" "I'm heading out," I told her. "I have class." "What class?" "Cooking," I said. She blinked again. "Since when?" "Since I signed up," I said. Her mouth opened slightly, then closed, like she'd realized she didn't have access to my calendar anymore. The first real crack came on a Thursday afternoon. Her phone stopped working. She came into my office space, our second bedroom, holding her phone like it was broken glass. "Eli," she said, voice sharp with panic, "my service got cut off." I kept my eyes on my screen. "Okay." "Okay?" she repeated. "What do you mean, okay?" "I removed you from my plan yesterday," I said. "You can set up your own account." She stared. "Why would you do that?" "Because you told me you don't love me, and you still want me to finance your life is what I wanted to say." Instead, I said the truth, calmly. Roommates don't share family plans. Her eyes watered immediately like the tears were waiting right behind the surface. "You're being cruel." "I'm being consistent," I said. She tried a different angle, softer, wounded. "I didn't want to hurt you." "I know," I said. "You wanted to keep everything the same." She flinched like I'd slapped the air, and for the first time she looked less confident. Not guilty, just uncertain. Her birthday was the next week. In previous years, I'd planned things, a reservation, a surprise, coordinating her friends, paying deposits, making it special. Not because she demanded it, because I liked making her happy. This year, I said happy birthday in the morning, kissed her cheek because she leaned in and I didn't want to make a scene, and asked what she had planned. She stared at me, waiting for the second part. The "I booked a place," the "pack a bag," the "your friends are coming." When nothing came, she said quietly, "I thought we'd do something." "What did you want to do?" I asked. She hesitated. I didn't think about it. And there it was again. Not love, not partnership, expectation. I said, "You should text your friends. Plan something that feels good." Her throat bobbed. "So you're not doing anything?" "I'm your roommate," I said. "Your boyfriend doesn't exist anymore." That night, she ordered food and ate it in the living room, staring at the TV like it was the only thing that would look back at her. I came home later from my class, nodded hello, and went to bed. I didn't feel powerful. I felt done. The next wake-up call was paperwork. Our lease renewal notice arrived by email, and I printed it and left it on the counter like it was a normal household item. Mara saw it and said, "Oh, good, you got it." I looked at her. "Got what?" "The renewal," she said like I was being slow on purpose. "We have to sign." "We," I repeated. She frowned. "Well, yeah." I took a breath. I'd already applied for a one-bedroom closer to work. I hadn't told her because I'd been waiting for a reasonable moment, an adult moment, to discuss it. But it was becoming clear she was going to coast until the last second and then act shocked. So I said it. "I'm not renewing," I told her. "I'm moving out at the end of the lease." Her face went blank, then sharp. "What?" she said. "I signed a new lease," I said. "Move-in is next month." The room went so still I could hear the refrigerator hum. "And what am I supposed to do?" she asked. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't insult her. I just said the quiet part out loud. "You're supposed to do what you did before you moved in with me," I said. "Find a place you can afford." Her eyes flashed. "You're abandoning me." "We broke up," I said. "You broke up with me." "I didn't." She stopped, recalibrated. I was honest. "And I accepted it," I said. "This is what acceptance looks like." She started pacing like she was trying to walk off the panic. "You know I can't afford this place alone," she snapped. "You're doing this to punish me." "I'm doing this because I'm not your boyfriend," I said. "And I'm not your safety net." Her voice went higher. "So you're just leaving me stranded?" I stayed calm. You have time. The lease ends in 6 weeks." She stared at me like 6 weeks was tomorrow. Then she did something I hadn't seen in a long time. She dropped the performance. Her shoulders slumped and her voice cracked. "Eli, I made a mistake." That sentence hit me like a delayed aftershock. Not because it was emotional, because I recognized the timing. The mistake wasn't losing love. The mistake was losing support. She came closer, eyes wet. "I've been so stressed," she said. "I've been confused. I didn't mean it like that. I miss us." I watched her face carefully. I wanted, honestly, I wanted to believe her. I wanted the world where she said, "I'm sorry," and meant it, and we rebuilt something real. So I asked her one simple question. "What exactly do you miss?" I said. She wiped her cheek. "I miss feeling safe." I waited. She added, "I miss having you." Still vague, still centered on what I provided, not who we were. So I asked again, gently, "What part of me?" And she said without realizing it, "I miss how you take care of things." There it was, not you. Things. I nodded slowly. "I can't be your life manager," I said. "Especially not after you told me you don't love me." She looked offended, like love was a technicality. "Feelings change," she said. "People work through things." "Sometimes," I said, "but this doesn't feel like love returning. It feels like rent due." Her expression hardened instantly. "How dare you?" she whispered. And I realized that if she truly loved me, that line would have made her sad. It made her angry, because it threatened the story she wanted to tell, that she was emotional and brave, and I was cold. After that, the next few weeks were a slow unraveling. Mara tried different strategies like she was flipping through a playbook. One night she cooked my favorite meal and acted like we were fine. Another night she wore one of my old shirts and crawled into my bed and tried to kiss me. I didn't push her away dramatically. I just rolled back and said quietly, "Please don't do that." She stared at me in the dark. "So, it's really over?" "It's been over," I said. "I just caught up." After that, she started telling people I was punishing her for honesty. Her friends came by more often, whispering in the living room. One of them, Sienna, caught me in the hallway one evening and said, "Can we talk?" I said, "Sure." She gave me the practiced, sympathetic look of someone about to deliver a guilt package. "Mara's having a hard time," she said. "She didn't mean to hurt you. Maybe you guys should try counseling before you blow everything up." I nodded, calm. "Counseling is for couples who want to be together." "She does want to be together," Sienna said quickly. I didn't argue. I just said, "When did she start wanting that?" Sienna blinked. "What?" "When did it come back?" I asked. "Was it before or after she realized I wasn't renewing the lease?" Sienna's face tightened. She didn't answer. She couldn't, because the truth was sitting between us like a glass we both saw. I said, "I hope she's okay," and ended the conversation. The receipts moment came the week I started packing. Not because I wanted revenge, because I wanted a clean exit. I emailed Mara a simple list. Move-out date. Who was taking which furniture. What we needed to clean. How we'd handle the deposit. I attached my spreadsheet, not as an accusation, but as a boundary. It showed what I had been covering monthly and the dates I'd removed her from my accounts. I wrote one sentence above it. "I'm not asking you to pay me back. This is for clarity, so nothing gets misunderstood." She responded within 5 minutes, not with gratitude, with rage. "You're treating me like a bill," she wrote, "like I'm some burden." I stared at the email, then typed one line back. "I treated you like a partner. You asked to be a roommate." That was the last emotional sentence I sent her. After that, everything was logistics, because that's what boundaries are, boring on purpose. Move-out day was early. Movers arrived at 8. Mara stayed in her room. I heard her crying through the door, and I hated that sound because I did care about her as a person. But caring isn't the same as sacrificing yourself. Before I left, I knocked softly. "I'm leaving the keys on the counter," I said through the door, forwarding addresses in the email. No answer. I set the keys down anyway. In the car, I sat for a moment with my hands on the steering wheel, staring at the building like it was a chapter of my life I couldn't quite close. Then my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Mara. Please don't do this. We can fix it. I'm sorry. I'll do better." I didn't reply. Not because I wanted to punish her, because I'd already said everything that mattered, and because the apology came with an invisible add-on. "As long as you keep paying. My new apartment is smaller, quieter, mine." The first morning there, I made coffee and realized something embarrassing. I didn't know what to do with the silence. It felt like freedom and grief at the same time. A few weeks later, I met someone named Nora through that hiking group. No dramatic meet cute. No lightning bolt. Just a woman who showed up on time, carried her own pack, and laughed when the trail got muddy. She has her own place, her own schedule, her own life. The first time we went out, she tried to pay her share without making it a statement. When I offered to cover it, she said, "Only if you let me get the next one." That sentence, small, fair, hit me harder than any romance line Mara ever said, because it implied something I hadn't felt in a long time. Balance. A month after I moved out, Mara posted a story online, a black screen with white text. Funny how people leave when you stop being convenient. Then, 10 minutes later, she emailed me. Not to apologize, to ask if I could please just keep her on my phone plan for 2 more months while she figures things out. I stared at the screen, and I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was so perfectly, painfully consistent. I replied with one sentence. "No, please don't contact me again unless it's about the deposit." Then I forwarded the email thread to my landlord, asked to confirm the deposit distribution, and moved on. That was my legal boundary. Not a threat, not drama, just a line. Sometimes people hear a story like this and want a villain. They want me to say, "I won," or that she begged, or that I taught her a lesson. It didn't feel like winning. It felt like waking up. Mara wasn't evil. She wasn't a monster. She was just someone who let comfort replace love and assumed I'd keep providing the comfort because I always had. And I'm not proud of how long I let that happen. but I am proud of the moment I stopped negotiating with a reality she'd already declared. She wanted a roommate. So I became one. And once I did, she finally saw what she'd been calling normal. It wasn't love, it was labor. And when the labor ended, the romance suddenly tried to reappear, right on schedule. That's the part I couldn't unsee. So I didn't go back. I just went forward.